Looks like the Donald has some competition, because here comes Dr. Ben Carson. According to a new CBS News New York Times poll, retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson is catching up to Donald Trump in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. Now, let's take a look at some of these numbers. Now, 27% of GOP primary voters nationally support Donald Trump. But here comes Dr. Ben Carson at 23%. Now, Trump still rising, according to the poll, about 3 points, but Dr. Ben Carson surging 17% since July. Now, those results, according to the poll, are comparable to another ABC News Washington Post poll released yesterday that found that that both people, Donald Trump, Dr. Ben Carson, are leaving the rest of the GOP clown car in the dust. Wow. Now, in that poll, Dr. Ben Carson also saw a huge surge in support, 14 points since July. Now, what about everybody else? Well, this poll, not so good for everybody else. Apparently, the dozen other Republican candidates are stalled in the single digits. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee and Senator Marco Rubio all have about 6% in the poll, followed by Texas Senator Ted Cruz at 5%. But it gets worse. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker went from 10% to 2% in the new poll. And not only that, but Bush and Huckabee have seen huge losses. So wait a minute, Scott Walker, that surprised me. What happened to Scott Walker, man? Scott Walker was doing pretty well earlier, and then gone. I guess apparently his big bold plans to take on and destroy unions, well, it turned out to be neither new nor all that bold. Yes, let's go punch the teachers' unions in the face, to borrow a phrase from Chris Christie. Apparently that's not the most popular thing. It's not exactly the boldest thing either. You're not exactly taking on the powerful interests. Now, a CNN ORC survey also released last week showed Ben Carson going from 19% support among Republicans behind Donald Trump's 32% support. And the latest poll from ABC News / Washington Post also showed Trump ahead of Carson. Carson went from, but the interesting thing about Carson is that he went from 6% to 23% in a month. That is a tremendous surge. Now, what does Donald Trump have to say about this? Now, this is fun. Ben Carson is a very nice man. He's surging, but he's way behind me. The headline is, Carson surging. I keep saying, what about Trump? I'm surging much more than him. I'm surging more than anybody. Okay. Keep it down. Keep it down, Donald, all right? You're going to be all right. You're still ahead. It's funny because even when Donald Trump is ahead, he's like, hey, what about Trump? What about me? Dude, you're getting all the media coverage in the world. You're getting a ton of media exposure. And you're still leading. Dial it down. You need to be at a 2, you're at a 10. Bring it down. Well, now, actually, that has to do with the next thing he's going to mention is energy. Ben Carson's energy. He's going to go after his energy level. This is fun. Quote, we need energy. I don't think Ben has the energy. Ben is a nice man. That's the second time he said that. But when you're negotiating against China and you're negotiating against these Japanese guys who are going to come at you in waves, we need people that are really smart and have tremendous deal-making skills and have great energy. Waves of Japanese people. They're coming at you in waves. They're coming at you in waves. I love it, man. Energy. Ben Carson doesn't have enough energy. Well, apparently Donald Trump has got some excess energy. Maybe he can lend him some. I don't know. Look, I'm no fan of Ben Carson. Okay, I think some of his policies kind of terrible. Not exactly the best policies of a candidate. Could be worse. Could be better. But his energy, You're going to go after his energy? Really? His energy level? No, that's one of Donald Trump's favorite things to go to. Oh, he's got no energy. Jeb Bush, no energy. He's dull. Actually, I kind of agree. Jeb Bush is pretty dull. Maybe that's why he had to put an exclamation mark at the end of his name. Who knows? Maybe he's onto something. But really, no energy for Dr. Ben Carson. Ben Carson's a quiet guy. But he does speak eloquently even when he's saying stupid things. Like about the whole prison thing. Remember, he did say some people that go into prison come out gay, and that's how gay people are created. No. Prisons aren't gay factories. And I think we've already addressed that. And so, he's put his foot in his mouth a couple of times. But generally, Ben Carson isn't a stupid person. And he was actually a really smart guy, a really fantastic surgeon. I don't know what made him become a Republican. He's actually one of the best examples of liberal policies helping people get to where they are. How he forgot how much help he actually got from the government, in addition to his hard work, I'll never understand. It's not just hard work alone, and I guess that goes to the difference between Republicans or conservatives and liberals. Liberals, well, we know that the world isn't fair. We know that if you work hard, even if you work hard, you could work harder than anybody, and you still have a chance of not making it. Life isn't fair, but there are ways that we can make the playing field a little bit more fair, a little bit more even. That's what a lot of liberal policies are about. The conservatives think that the world is fair and that you get what you deserve. So if you're poor, you get what you deserve. If you don't make it, you just didn't work hard enough. It's a very simplistic view, but a lot of people hold that. And that's sort of what our meritocratic system is about. Oh, you work hard, you're going to automatically make it. No, unfortunately, that's not true. Because if everybody who worked hard made it, then most people would have made it. It's not really rational, even though it does sound good. Because you want to live in a world where, hey, if you work hard and apply yourself, you are guaranteed to make it. And unfortunately, we don't live in that world. But we wish we did. Now, Ben Carson worked his ass off to become one of the best surgeons in his field. And he was rewarded for that. But he holds that worldview that, well, since I did it, you can too, and there's nothing stopping you but yourself. So get off your ass and work hard. While that's a message that resonates with people, it's not exactly right. As I said, you can work super hard and still fail. And sometimes when you do that, you need a helping hand to get you back on your feet so that you can try again. That's what liberal policies are about. That's what I personally believe. And Dr. Ben Carson, I don't know. Maybe not so much. But anyway, when it comes to this poll, look, Donald Trump might think that Dr. Ben Carson doesn't have a lot of energy or he's not right for the presidency, even though he's a nice man. Well, there's a lot of likely Republican voters that are starting to see him a little differently. And so we'll see how far Dr. Ben Carson's surge goes and whether or not he can catch up to Trump or even surpass Trump. We'll see. But regardless, Donald Trump, watch out. Because here comes Dr. Ben Carson.